Ironsides, a film released in 2009. Ironsides tells the story of two boys, each trying to win their father's affection, one by fighting and one by seeking peace. Abuse, neglect, hatred, war, fighting, and bullying are not new to our society, but seem to have escalated over the past few decades. Jomar Motion Pictures and writer-director Joel Greenberg addresses these issues, and more in his film Ironsides, driving home a clear message that nothing good ever comes out of violence. In my email exchange with director Greenberg, I found that while nearly all of the actors who played in this film were right off the street with no formal acting experience, some of the leads did have more acting background. Tolliver Crisp was, for the most part, quite skillful in his portrayal of 11-year-old Randy Scott. Randy is a decent kid who spends much of his time doing his best to lay low from a family of brothers who constantly terrorize him and bully him, enticing him to fight, or as they put it, battle. Randy's father, played by actor Devin Eldridge, also did a good job in his scenes with Crisp, bringing out a very loving, mentoring father-son relationship and helping to establish the driving force in the film, peacemaking. While the father spent most of his time away from his son, working as an exhibition boxer, when he was home, he would encourage his son not to fight, explaining that his boxing was a job and actually one he hated. It seemed that it would only take one more bout, and the family would be reunited forever with his retirement from the sport. Meanwhile, on the other side of the community, there lived a family of three boys, Simon, Mike, and Jimmy Coltrane. These boys lived in an environment of continual fear and abuse, brought about by a father who was a delusional drunkard. One scene substantiated that he may have been suffering from PTSD. Unlike Randy's father, who encouraged his son not to fight, these boys lived under a militant rule, forced to lift weights and exercise, and encouraged to go out and battle every day. If the boys would lose or come home with an injury, they would be further beaten and abused. To survive, the boys had to play the part. While some of the scenes were less convincing than others, young Dalton Koike, who played Simon, was the standout actor among this batch of sibling brothers. While maybe not as experienced in acting, he carried his role very well as Ironsides, the boy who could take the punches. While attempting to prove himself as a tough boy, even in an early scene, Dalton skillfully portrayed a quality of disbelief that he really wanted to be this character that his overbearing father was forcing upon him. The film does offer some scenic footage, but for the most part, it's quite simply made. Ironsides' strength is the story itself. On the downside, I found some of the music a bit distracting, with a piano chord played repeatedly in a couple of scenes. At times it was too loud, to the point of overpowering the dialogue between actors. However, the music at the end of the film was very fitting. I only wish they would have used this music more throughout the film. I also noted a few special sound effects that seemed not to fit in the movie, like a motorcycle racing by while the small street outside could never have accommodated this event. Some of the boys' short fighting scenes were a bit unconvincing, while a few others were better. These boys were all quite young, and I also felt their use of a few minor expletives, while not necessarily inappropriate, were unconvincing coming from them. These scenes could have been made without using strong language. Overall, I think the film could have been even shorter, cutting much of the 4th of July carnival scene and leaving only the important scenes with the two leads doing their singing act. Using that many inexperienced actors just did not add value to the film and made it a bit like watching a home video. Overall, I still think the film is worthy of viewing, and director Greenberg should be praised for his outstanding effort in telling this amazing story. If you're looking for a movie with action and special effects, or eye-dazzling scenes using skillful, famous actors, then don't watch this film. However, if you are looking for a film that can tell a story, open your eyes to what some kids have to contend with on the darker side of humanity, and see an amazing story unfold that brings together two boys who should never be friends, then this is a film for you.